Hi and welcome to Deep Dish Vegan. I'm your host Diane.
Today we'll be making udon soup, baked spring rolls, avocado sushi rolls, and carrot cake for dessert.
So on the stove top I have 2 cups of sushi rice cooking, which should take about 20 minutes to prepare. So we're going to get started on our carrot cake in the meantime. I have 1½ cups of unbleached all-purpose flour, 1 cup of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. So we're going to sift our dry ingredients in a large bowl. Okay, and then just kind of whisk our dry ingredients until everything is nice and even. Okay, so our wet ingredients are 1/2 cup of canola oil, 1/4 cup of rice milk. If you don't have rice milk, feel free to use soy milk or almond milk. 2 egg replacers, 1/4 teaspoon of ground clove, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. You're going to need 1 cup of grated carrot, fresh carrot, of course. And so I'm going to get started on chopping the ends of our carrot. Okay, so we have our cup of shredded carrots. Add our oil. If you don't have canola oil, you could use vegetable oil. We have our rice milk. Remember, if you don't have rice milk, you can use soy milk or almond milk. We have our 2 egg replacers that I've already beaten. And our vanilla extract. And let's add our cinnamon, nutmeg, ground clove, and our allspice. You just want to mix this until all your wet ingredients are nicely blended. It smells really delicious. You could really smell all the spices and the carrot. It's going to be really nice for our meal today. Okay, our wet ingredients are nicely blended. Let's mix our wet into our dry. Okay, so I have my 9x5 loaf pan, and I have 1/4 cup of raisins and 1/4 cup of chopped walnuts. If you want to use chopped pecans, that's fine, but we're just going to use just 1/4 of chopped walnuts. We're going to fold it in. Just like that. And we're going to use 1/4 cup of raisins as well. want to nicely fold this into your batter. Don't need to stir it in. Perfect. Alright, and we're going to pour our batter into our loaf pan. And remember, our oven should be heated now at 350 degrees. Okay, just want to bang it a little bit so that everything is even and you get rid of all the air bubbles. And we're going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for 50 to 60 minutes. And you just want to insert a toothpick down the center, and if it comes out clean, then you know it's good to go. Okay, so we're going to get started on our udon soup. We have 2 cups of vegetable broth, 1 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of oil, 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, 5 shirataki mushrooms, 1/2 of a red bell pepper, 2 green onions, and 1 daikon. Daikon is a white radish, Japanese radish, Chinese radish, and it's going to go great in our soup. And 3 cloves of garlic that we're going to finely mince, and we're going to use about 1/4 teaspoon of fresh ginger. And I've already sliced a few baby carrots. And let's get started on cutting our vegetables for our soup. So we're going to add our oil to our large pot. Let's add our ginger. And we're going to add our vegetables to the oil. We're going to stir our vegetables. And we're just going to allow these to slightly tenderize. You don't want them to become too soft because they will be softened when we add our broth. Oh, this is the business right here. It smells great. You can smell the garlic and the green onions. It's delicious. So we're going to add our cup of water and our 2 cups of vegetable broth. Add our salt, our red pepper flakes, and our soy sauce. And we're just going to mix this, stir this until everything's nice and even. We're going to raise the temperature, and we're going to allow this to come to a boil with the lid on for just a few minutes. Okay? I have frozen Brussels sprouts. If you have broccoli, that's a great green to use in your soup. Also, if you have bok choy, that's also a great leafy vegetable to use as well. I have about 7 ounces of tofu that I'm going to cut into chunks. And this is going to be a great protein for our soup. I've already rinsed this block of extra firm tofu, and I've drained the excess fluids from the tofu. Okay, so it seems like our soup has been brought to a boil.
Perfect.
So we're going to add our Brussels sprouts. It's about a half a cup of Brussels sprouts. I'm going to stir it in. And we're actually going to add our noodles to the mix as well. Okay, so our noodles are just about done. We're going to add our tofu into our soup. And it all should be done in about 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, so we're going to start on our baked spring rolls. I have a couple or a few spring roll wrappers, a few leaves of Napa cabbage, 3 green onion springs, and a few slices of baby carrots that I've sliced. So you want a bowl that's slightly shallow, and you want to fill the bowl with lukewarm water. And you're just going to dip the spring roll into the water. You're going to allow it to dry. And while that's drying, we're going to slice our cabbage. Don't need the ends because it's a little rough. And we're going to be using really the green part of our onions. I'm going to save these for something else a little bit later. We're just going to slice these into very thin pieces. Okay, so this wrapper is dry, so we're going to just fill the insides of the wrapper in the center with our cabbage, a few of our carrots, and our green onion. I'm just going to take one end and fold it over the vegetables, and take another end and fold it over the vegetables. And you're just going to roll the ends. Okay, this is one, and I've already greased my baking pan.